Hello and welcome to CFESA's President's Podcast. My name is Kirby Mallon, and I am your president of CFESA. I'm also the owner of Elmer Schultz Services based out of Philadelphia. And today we have with us Rob and Mike Sinclair from Hawkins Commercial Appliance. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, good afternoon, Kirby.
Rob, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Well, thanks for joining us today. And this series of podcasts, we're kind of honing in on showcasing CFESA certified companies within CFESA and companies that have been around for a while. And I know Hawkins has been around for some time. How long have you guys been in business?
We've been a company since 1907. So our great-grandfather started the company as a true electrical company. It's kind of morphed into this industry over the years.
1907. Wow, that's impressive. And I was talking to Dan from K&D the other day, and believe it or not, his company started off as a clock company. And he said that they were fixing clocks, and GE decided to put clocks into ovens. And when the clock broke, they would fix them to fix the oven. My company, Elmer Schultz, my grandfather, Elmer, was an electrician. So how did it all begin at Hawkins in 1907? What happened? How did it all begin, if you know the story?
Well, I mean, I know a little of the story. I mean, I don't know if Rob knows more. I mean, our great-grandfather had an electrical company, and they were pulling wire and copper and things like that, just like electricians do today. My great-grandfather and my grandfather, they actually invented a tool back in the day to help bend electrical wiring, if I remember right. And it wasn't really until I think it was the 70s that we kind of got into actual equipment. So it was truly an electrical company for a really long time.
How about that? And who was Hawkins?
Hawkins is on our mom's side. So my mom owns Hawkins Commercial Appliance. So it was her dad and her grandfather that has always owned Hawkins.
Okay. Very similar to Schultz. Elmer Schultz was my grandfather on my mother's side. Right. So my last name is Mallon, so it's not Elmer Mallon. Anyways.
Yeah.
Interesting. And when did you start in the business, Mike?
I've been with Hawkins for, is it 18 years now? 21. Has it been 21 years? 21 years, I guess. If you say.
Oh, time flies.
Yeah. So I've been with Hawkins for 21 years now. It does fly.
How about you, Rob? How long have you been there?
16. So yeah, Mike was here 5 years before me.
Okay. How about that? And then, so Mike, you were there first. What did you start doing when you first came to Hawkins?
Well, when I first came to Hawkins, my dad, Jeff Sinclair, was still alive. So we did a lot of cross training. He really made me learn everything inside of the building. I'm not technical. I can't fix anything. Mm-hmm. But he made me learn every job in this building. So I could do front office work, warehouse work, sales work. And then he started cross training me on things that he did inside here, from accounting to, the financial pieces of it. So that's kind of where I started. And I was really in charge of inventory quite a bit when I first started.
Cool. Tough one.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then Rob, what did you start when you started 16 years ago?
Yeah. So, because that game plan was kind of put in place with my dad, Jeff, and Mike, it was also set in place for where the transition was going to occur for my dad to retire and Mike to take over. When I joined, we kind of went the same route. Once again, I'm not technical. I didn't do anything in the field work. So I went through the same plan Mike did. So learn everything in the building. And when the transition happens, my dad leaves, Mike would be promoted to president, and then I'd be one of the vice presidents with, of course, John Schwinn is the other vice president. Mm-hmm. John Schwinn handles everything on the technical side because he's been through it all and has been here for 45 years now. So he is definitely that side of the building for us. And then, we're the inside the building type guys.
About that. Yeah. It's interesting. I guess our grandparents had the same idea. I wasn't alive when Elmer ran the business. I wasn't there. I was there when my father ran the business. But he, upon graduating from college, I went back to a trade school to learn electricity, because back then there was no school for how to become a technician. That's why we kind of created the CFESA global training center down in the Carolinas. Anyways, I did the same thing. I did every job that I did start as a technician after I learned some basic electricity. So I was out in the field for a short period of time, maybe a year or so, working with another technician, I guess, as an apprentice. But working every job within the company is critical, because you learn every job there is, and you kind of recreate every job as you go along. Did you find yourselves, as you took over a different job, somebody got fired or quit, you took over that job, did you find yourself kind of recreating that job?
I mean, yes. I mean, we've definitely refined, different departments. I mean, Hawkins definitely runs very lean compared to a lot of other companies. So we have definitely, become more efficient, and we've downsized a little bit over the years, just to get, the cream of the crop when it comes to employees, and you get the most out of them. With technology, obviously that helps make everyone more efficient too. So we definitely have made, and we've barcoded our inventory a long time ago, so that cut down on a lot of counts and inventory mistakes. And so yeah, we've done that over the years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. I think we're very similar as companies are concerned. I think we both sort of fall on the typical CFESA company. We're on the same software as you. I think we're on Sage Automated Service.
Yeah.
But I think you guys have probably nailed inventory a little better than we have. We have way too many parts. We have parts in dead stock. We have a dead stock room.
Yeah.
But
we do too.
We do too. We got a return warehouse full of it.
Mike, what was your first job?
So I went to CU Boulder, and I graduated in marketing. So my first real job was with MetLife Insurance, in customer service. And I pretty much spent the first, I think, 8-9 years of my career in mutual funds and annuities. And it took me to New York City for a year and a half. Worked for Prudential out there. And then I came back to Colorado and worked for like Janus Mutual Funds and stuff like that before starting talking to my dad and deciding to join Hawkins Commercial Appliance.
About that, very similar story to Dan Divler from K&D. He was in finance, was in the exchange, and then came work for the family.
Yeah.
Rob, what was your first job?
Yeah, so I went to Colorado State University in marketing, and after graduation, I stayed in marketing, but I kind of took a spin into graphic design. And I worked for Pella Windows and Doors. I worked for Shane Company Jewelers. So what was different from that and us now is, we were definitely marketing to the end user, where obviously this business, I'm marketing a business to business. But it was quite the different change of pace when I got here. But those were big businesses, so I got a taste of big business and managing and all that stuff before I got here.
Yeah. And it sounds like you guys both were born in Colorado. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we were both born and raised just about 25 minutes south of Denver, downtown Denver.
Yeah. So, we lost your father some years ago, Jeff. A great guy, fantastic guy. I didn't really know him too well. I mean, I think our ages were pretty far apart. When we went to CFESA meetings, I was running around in a different group of people. But tell me a little bit about your father and what he did within the company throughout the years.
Yeah, so when he went to college, also in Denver, CU Denver, he came out with an accounting degree. And when his wife, Barb Sinclair, her dad wanted him to join Hawkins. So that's how the Sinclairs became part of Hawkins, is, obviously he married into it. And he started from the technical field. So Elwood Hawkins wanted him to start on a bench, learn the business that way. And from there, obviously he started learning more about the business and working books and doing the accounting with my grandpa. But he definitely started as a bench in the van.
Yeah. And, he's a huge reason why Hawkins is where it is, in the sense that back when he started at Hawkins, I mean, we were really specialized in just certain pieces of equipment. And he really got really aggressive at trying to expand our lineup and what manufacturers we represent, because back then it was really important to have manufacturer contracts and those warranty contracts. So he really expanded our product lines. He also, a couple of decades after, he got really aggressive on the cooking side. He's the one that started the refrigeration department and built that from scratch. He's also the one that started our branch down in Colorado Springs. He saw that we needed to get rid of our subagents and actually put our own guys down there. And so he was really responsible for all of that expansion throughout those years that he was here at Hawkins.
About that. Elwood, I'm pretty sure he and Elmer were running around having fun together back in the day.
I think so. Yep.
Right?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. It's interesting, Mike. I've been doing this for 33 years now, and you talk about the importance of having manufacturers, and we did the same thing. The more was better. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we had a bunch of subagents, and man, that was a real pain because you had to sell them apart, get back their paperwork, give them a credit, and it was so odd. And I believe that you guys are in the same boat we are in right now. Who we're looking at manufacturers and we're saying less is better, and and we consider ease of doing business one of our criteria for if we're going to do work with a manufacturer. When I see ease of doing business is do we have training? Do we have online? Do we have support? Do we have from the manufacturer? Are they paying us a fair warranty rate?
Yep.
Do they have inventory return policies that are fair? And it's interesting how over the years things have kind of evolved, and I think it would be people who are just brand new into this industry would find that pretty interesting how things have just evolved over the years. That I have the hour the 40 hours that I have of a technician to bill in a week. I could either choose to do it for a customer that's pays the bills very well, pays my street rate, or I can spend that hour doing a warranty job at a much lower rate with no profit on the parts.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I mean, it hasn't really even been that long, right? And we're talking about this massive change. I mean, we've seen just a monumental amount of change in the last, let's just say 7 years. I mean, it's been so rapid. From my perspective, it seemed like, for the first, let's say 16, 15 years of my term here, it seemed like the industry was very consistent about everyone's roles in the industry. And the last 7 years, it seems like everyone's fighting for different spaces. There's been so much consolidation, so much downsizing throughout our industry from factories and everyone else. It's really changed drastically in the last, I'd say, 7 years or something like that.
I agree.
It's been wild.
I agree 100%. Rob, have you seen that in your? I guess you've seen that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I've only been here 16 years. It seems like every year something's changed or morphed.
Right.
Seeing John Schwent's brain, it's fun. It's tremendous because so much has changed in his time here, right? And he was there. He was there with my dad, making all the contracts as big as possible and sign as many companies as possible. And to see now, we're like you said, pushing people away that you're just not worth doing business anymore. You're making it too hard on us. And
well, it was critical back in the day to have that contract with that manufacturer, which got you the full discount on the part. And if anybody in Colorado needed to buy that part, the factory would say, go to Hawkins and buy the pins, and you would sell the part. And that's all gone. That's all gone now. And now, most of us are just true service companies providing quality service for our customers, and our customers could be restaurants and it could be manufacturers. Mm-hmm. Right. So, Mike, what do you what's your specialty at the company? What do you love to do at Hawkins?
Oh, spreadsheets. I'm just kidding. I do a lot of spreadsheet work. No, I mean, I like to go out and do a lot of, I cover for a lot of people. So it's fun to go back out and actually help other people do their jobs, just to see how it's changed, make sure they're doing it right. And we agree that things are going on. So really, I spend a lot of my time bouncing around out in the office and in different departments, and just making sure we're all on the same page. I mean, I could sit in here all day long and look at reports and work on spreadsheets and do sales taxes. But, I like to stay out in the office and see, what everyone's doing, what they're struggling with, trying to listen to if I can help or make phone calls or change things up. So I kind of just stay quite active throughout the day, every day, while getting the boring office stuff done from taxes and whatnot.
Well, that leads me to my next question, Mike. I'm going to ask you the same thing, Rob. So, Mike, what do you hate doing, or maybe I should say, what are you worst at doing at Hawkins?
I don't know about worse. I mean, I definitely don't enjoy doing sales taxes. It's become harder and harder, obviously, when you're going down to the city level and how the tax laws have changed. It wasn't all that long ago. You only had to really deal with sales taxes where you actually had buildings. And now they're viewing our vans as like a moving office. So we're collecting sales taxes in all the cities and all the counties, and just trying to keep up with that change, along with a lot, we both handle healthcare and benefits here for the company. Staying on top of those, products and the responsibilities there. I think those are some of the hardest challenges, in my opinion, for what I do, week to week, month to month.
Yeah.
It's just staying on top of some of those things.
Agreed. People often ask me, "What you're fixing ovens? How hard could it be?"
Yeah.
And when you look at all the inventory and technology and infrastructure and training, it's quite complicated sometimes.
It is. Yeah.
Rob, what's your specialty at Hawkins, or what do you really enjoy doing?
Well, marketing I enjoy doing, but I'd say specialty is kind of warped into inventory, because when I got here, Mike was handing that off to me. So I'm definitely dealing with inventory the most in this company, from keeping the warehouse counted year round, keeping all the vans counted twice a year. Because, it can become a mess when you got your techs. We have heavy vans when they are day in and day out selling parts out of there. And we need to make sure they have what they need and they're building out the right part numbers. And if they're not, get it corrected.
Yeah.
What I find hardest probably would be HR problems and technology. Obviously, I like technology. It's just, as a small business owner, my background is not IT. So now me, Mike, and John, really, everyone looks to us to be the IT guy. It's like, oh, what's wrong with my laptop? What's wrong with my iPad? What's wrong with this? Come fix it for me. And it's tricky keeping up on everything.
Yeah. I mean, Rob kind of hit on it. I mean, Rob really took on trying to get all of our technicians to paperless through Sage and through Service Force and stuff like that now. So I'll just say Rob really did not enjoy that 2-year process. That was probably the hardest 2 years of him being here. It was pretty brutal to try to go paperless for whatever reason. It just took for way too long.
Getting launched into Service Force was quite a chore.
Yeah.
If I had hair, it would have been gone, but it was already gone. But now we're on OSP, and OSP through Sage is much smoother.
Well, it's through Ascent, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we as the audience will know, we're both on the same software, and we're also on OSP, and we've always been late to the game on purpose. And when I say that with technology, is my good friend Brock Coleman down in Texas, Commercial Kitchens.
Yep.
He's always been the first to upgrade the software and refresh everything, and he would say, "Oh, we got all kinds of problems with this and that. And this doesn't work right." And I said, "Great, just let me know when everything's straightened out."
Yeah.
And then when I finally was forced to upgrade is when we would upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worked well for me throughout the years. And we've recently just moved to OSP in the last 2 years. And I was terrified of going away from paper. I'm old school paper. And
Yeah.
and I was terrified of going away from paper to tablets. And I'm presently surprised how more efficient our technicians are now. Our technicians, they would bill. We do a lot of hours paid, hours billed as one thing we're looking at, and we incentivize our technicians based upon that, as we don't want them installing parts that aren't necessary and all that kind of stuff. So we look at true hours paid, true hours billed, and 75% and above was acceptable. Now 75% is not acceptable. Most of our techs are in the 95% range because of OSP. Now they can see in real time each day how much hours they're billing, and they should be able to bill all 8 hours of their day.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so in my mind, it's almost paid for itself.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like I have technicians now that'll call me with inventory issues. They're starting to type in a part number on OSP and they'll call me and say, Rob, it says I have 2 of these actuators. I don't. Why don't you help me correct my inventory? So it's really working nice.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
I question, we're, as I said, we're kind of struggling with inventory now, and we're going to move to, True Turns is going to base our inventory. And I'm thinking 3 or 4 turns a year to stock at the main office. What do you guys have a certain number that you would consider the stock at your main office?
On turns?
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right. I think, it just depends on what line it is. Like, some of our bigger lines that we sell more of, we still have quite a bit of activity at our will call over the counter to other service companies. It's obviously gone down quite a bit over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And our service technicians. So it's like our biggest lines, we're probably turning those products probably 6-7 times a year. Whereas, some of our factories that are smaller that we represent, those mm-hmm. turn maybe once or twice a year. And so I think it really just depends on which brand we're talking about. Obviously, as just trying to manage what is turning, what is not turning, and keeping your reorder points at a correct level it's really difficult. We do have half of our building here is nothing but warehouse with parts. So right. It's definitely a challenge to do.
Well, I guess my point is we talked about contracts, more is better back in the day. Factories had their mandatory stocking levels.
Yeah.
It seems that the entire industry is moving away from I don't need you telling me what I should stock to I'll manage my own inventory. And if it's turned 3 times in a year, then I'll stock it. If it's only turned twice a year, I'm not going to stock it. Right. If it's turned 10 times, I'm going to have 2 or 3 of them. Right. Yeah. Okay.
We definitely played hardball with the last 2 companies we did sign about their mandatory upstart for stock. And even though we've actually released both those companies, we were able to return all of it. And it was definitely playing hardball with them before we signed the contract.
Right. It's interesting. I literally had to take $100 bill with my parts department a couple months ago. And I took the thermostat off the shelf and I put the $100 bill there. And I said, what does that mean to you now? And a light bulb went off. They were like, wow, I didn't really think of it as actual money. Yeah. So let's spin back to CFESA for a minute. John Schwint, good friend of mine, past president of CFESA, kind of my mentor. He's obviously done an awful lot for CFESA throughout the years. And as you said, he's been with you for 45 years. I didn't even know he was that old. I'm really kidding. So what does CFESA mean to Hawkins?
Well, CFESA has always been a very important part. My grandfather, was, I don't even know. Have to look back at history, to be honest with you. I think he was a very key role in how CFESA got started. CFESA has always been very ingrained in Hawkins, whether it be from the association to training to technicians to advertising. Hawkins is pretty much always, you don't see Rob and I too often, but John has been obviously so heavily involved in CFESA for so many years. Hawkins is always represented at pretty much anything CFESA does. We've always tried to stay involved, and we've always tried to, keep moving with CFESA and support CFESA, whether it be up front or behind the scenes. CFESA has always been a key piece to, Hawkins fabric all the way back from my grandfather.
Rob and Mike, you guys are a CFESA certified company. What do you feel that has done for you as a company as a whole?
Well, you hope that your customers appreciate that you're a CFESA company, because one, it comes with trained technicians, certified technicians, constant training. We're being evaluated by the manufacturers that we're a CFESA company, and that the end user wants to use a CFESA company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that if being a CFESA certified company tells manufacturers and end users, hey, these guys got their act together, their technicians are certified and trained, and they're the cream of the crop. And I think that's probably what most people feel about that. So that's fantastic. 1907, man, I think you guys are maybe taking the cake there with the oldest company that I've interviewed so far, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said, Hawkins and or Elwood was instrumental in starting the organization way back then. So couple quick fire questions for you guys.
Okay.
Mike, pizza,
Yes.
red or white?
Red.
Rob?
Red.
Okay. Mike, what's your go-to beverage?
Go-to beverage?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Morning, it's coffee.
Uh-huh.
Water all day.
Yeah.
Let's stay hydrated out here in high altitude.
Okay. I got an espresso machine. I love making my coffee first thing in the morning. Rob, you got a go-to beverage there?
Yeah. Can of Pepsi, cold Pepsi.
Mike, if you were going to a desert island, you had one thing you could bring to a desert island, what would the one thing you would bring with you?
One thing. Anything?
One thing, anything.
I don't know. My new girlfriend.
Now, Rob, you've had a couple seconds to think about that. What's your answer?
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
How to keep this PG.
Yeah, right.
Well, geez, technology. If you bring your cell phone, you got phone, you got TV, you got everything you want on there. News.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, one final question here. I got if you could have dinner with any person, whether that person's dead or alive, Rob, who would that be?
Wow, that's an interesting one.
It's called a quick fire question.
Yeah, you're making me think though. I'm a big sports guy, so I guess I just think it'd be really cool to have dinner with Peyton Manning.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, what's your answer?
I mean, that could be, you're right. That could be a lot of things. I mean, I always default to entertainment, but, I think in today's world, I think it would be really interesting, whether it doesn't even matter which one it would be, someone like a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk or someone like that. I think it would just be really, I could name off a million actors or actresses to see, but I think it'd be really interesting to see what those guys are like in person.
Mm-hmm. I agree. My answer to that question is Warren Buffett. He's in Omaha and the National Service Co-op headquarters are there. We're there a couple of times a year. And I've often wondered, what it would be like to sit down with Warren Buffett. And
that'd be a cool one.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Well, again, thanks a lot, Rob and Mike. I really appreciate your time today. Mike and Rob Sinclair, the owners of Hawkins Commercial Appliance out in Colorado, longtime standing CFESA company, CFESA certified company. So again, thanks for your time today, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey, thank you. You too.
Thank you, Kirby. Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye.